Welcome to another episode of Bay Area Boxing Talk. I'm gonna try to wrap this up. I'm gonna get a quick one in. Then I gotta get some rest because I gotta get up and get ready to go home. I'm still in Newark, New Jersey. Shout out to Newark, New Jersey. And I'm gonna definitely do some videos about my experience in Newark, New Jersey, since I actually got to really see the city and walk around the city and talk about my experience. But that's another video for another day. But all right, so let's talk some boxing. All right, we're gonna start off with the heavyweight showdown between Joseph Parker and Joe Joyce, where Joe Joyce scored an 11th round stoppage of Joseph Parker. Joe Joyce is the first person to ever stop Joseph Parker. That's something Anthony Joshua couldn't do, and that's something others couldn't do. So at the end of the day, man, I think that was a good look for him to get the stoppage. And like I said before, Joe Joyce is 37 years old. So really it's now or never for him to try to get a title shot. Now, we all know the sanctioning bodies, they may find a way to make Joe Joyce a number 1, number 2 contender for one of these belts, maybe even number 3, worst case scenario. I haven't looked at the rankings because at the end of the day, I got to be honest with you. A lot of times I don't really pay attention to rankings for titles because at the end of the day, it can be meaningless. Because just because somebody's the number 1 contender don't mean that they're going to get that fight. So, all that Mr. T stuff about I am the number 1 contender, which means I am the best. Well, how many times have you seen somebody fight the number 1 contender or the mandatory? Okay. So, keep in mind, like they always say, boxing is a business. And whether you like that cliche is fact, and that's unfortunate. So, but shout out to Joe Joyce. He do need to keep an eye on what's going on in the heavyweight division. I don't know if he's in. I think he's still got a little ways to go before he's in line for a shot at Deontay Wilder. What he should try to do, see can he fight somebody like Efe Ajagba, somebody like that. See can they make the fight? See can they make the fight? It's some fights out there for him. Chisora, guys like that. It's some fights out there. I don't think he'll get Anthony right away, but there's some work out there for him. And like I said, he gotta get moving because he's 37 years old. So like I said, time's wasting. Gotta get moving. All right, so Floyd Mayweather had an exhibition match, which I told you I wasn't going to cover. I just wasn't interested in that. And it was kind of funny, though, to see his bodyguard get basically knocked out. And the dude that knocked out his bodyguard was small. So that got to be very humiliating for his bodyguard. I think his bodyguard name is Jizzy. Very humiliating to see him get knocked out. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Floyd might as well just give dude his final paycheck, which I'm gonna do a video about that because he's done. Once something like that happened to a dude where they see you get pretty much get dropped by 145-pound dude, it's pretty much a wrap. Yeah, Floyd need to give him his final paycheck, dude. It's over with. Floyd need to let him go. Give him some severance pay because it's a wrap. Because ain't nobody gonna respect him after this, especially getting knocked out by a small dude. All people gonna say is, I'll sleep you like that little dude did. And so Floyd, it would be in his best interest to just, let him go. Because based off the fact that he got slept the way he did, people gonna try Floyd. So at the end of the day, Floyd got to make not a business decision. He got to make business decision, a safety decision. because at the end of the day, he's paid to protect Floyd, and if he can't handle himself against a 145 pound man, then he don't need to be being security for Floyd, because there's going to be much bigger people that's going to try Floyd. So yeah, Floyd should just give him his final paycheck when they get back to the States, and just move on, and just go on about his business. Now they're talking about revisiting Floyd versus Manny Pacquiao too, but Floyd is supposed to fight somebody else. I think I forgot who he finna fight. I know he finna fight a brother from a British brother from London. I think that is KSI's brother, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's supposed to do an exhibition match with him. And then there's supposed to be reports that Floyd is actually considering doing a actual fight. And I already put that out there. Who I think Floyd should consider fighting. As far as Manny Pacquiao goes, I'm gonna be honest with you. I would cover it, but Manny Pacquiao, I know a lot of people just don't want to tell the truth. Manny Pacquiao was such a one-sided fight. Even at this stage, I just think there wouldn't be real interest in it. And then Manny Pacquiao got dominated in his last fight that sent him into retirement, where both of his eyes was closed, to where Manny was like temporarily blind for like a week or something. So I mean, at the end of the day, I just don't think there'll be the interest that it was in 2015. At the end of the day, even though it was one of the most lucrative fights in history, if not the most lucrative fight in history, it went past the point to where where at least if it would have happened, you would have thought it would have been a better fight. The promotion behind it was outstanding, but the actual fight itself didn't live up to the expectations, because it was basically a one-sided fight in favor of Floyd Mayweather. Manny Pacquiao didn't have many moments in that fight. So, even though people will say, well, Floyd ain't had an actual fight since 2017, Manny is a little bit fresher. Floyd does these exhibition matches. I guess you could say is somewhat like sparring without the headgear and all that kind of stuff. So I just don't think it would be any real interest in a Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather 2, because of the fact that it was such a one-sided fight. Now, I do think it would be some buzz around Floyd versus Triple G, because, due to the fact that Triple G is much bigger than Floyd, he has a lot of power. He's never been stopped. He's never really been, dropped before. So that's why I think Floyd versus Triple G would be a more intriguing fight. And I think it would be a more sellable fight than Floyd versus Manny Pacquiao. I think that ship has came and went, because like I said, most people that saw it who want to tell the truth, it was just such a one-sided fight. So it's just like, kind of like, why bother? So, now, let me talk about another dude that is just, if you wonder why people do not take Jake Paul seriously, why people call him Fake Paul and call him all kind of other names, it's because he puts himself in a position where he just contradicts himself. Now, all of a sudden, Jake Paul is on social media calling out Floyd Mayweather. Now, he has the fight coming up with Anderson Silva. but he's sitting up saying, he'll knock Floyd Mayweather out. And he keeps talking about he wants to be considered a serious fighter. He's saying he'll retire Floyd and all this kind of stuff. Now, the funny thing is, this is the same Jake Paul that was whining and crying about Hakeem Rahman Jr.'s weight, who wanted to control the weight, who put in a weight clause, who didn't want to fight him at 215, who basically tried to get him down to like pretty much 200 pounds. And he pretty much, to a certain degree, knew that that wasn't feasible. But then now all of a sudden he wants to fight 5'9" Floyd Mayweather, a dude that walks around at probably at best maybe 155 pounds. But this was the same Jake Paul that was crying about weight with Hakeem Rahman. I mean, you cannot make this stuff up. This is the same dude. This is the same dude that was crying and whining about Hakeem Rahman's weight, who said he'll knock him out, but then he puts these weight stipulations in. If you really believe that you can knock that dude out, why you wanted him to come down to 200 pounds? Why just not do the 215? You wanted every advantage that you could have. You wanted to weight drain him. You knew that if you weight drained him, you might have a chance of, catching him and stopping him, not because of your power, due to the fact that he's weight drained and wouldn't have no steam. And it's like this: if you don't have, trying to make weight for a fight, and then you, when you actually fight and you moving around the ring, you still can gas out. And basically, if you don't have any gas or any energy, hell, you'll just go down from any type of punch just because you out of gas. That's, via Anthony Yard. It wasn't because Sergey Kovalov hit him with a devastating punch. It was like he ran out of gas. And that's pretty much what Jake Paul was trying to do. I know Anderson Silva is in all reality, Anderson Silva should be able to whoop on Jake Paul, but it's just always something about when you watch Jake Paul fight. It's just like he leaves you not impressed. You just be looking like, and it leaves you with a big question mark, like, what did I just watch? And then, not to mention, Anderson Silva is what, 47 years old, pushing 50, but he said he want to be respected. He said, "Oh, I want to be respected." But you fighting a dude that don't have really a boxing background. Even though Anderson Silva, for many years trained in boxing, he's only had one professional fight. And that was one professional boxing match, and that was against Julio Cesar Chavez. Yeah, he won, but come on, you guys. Was Julio Cesar Chavez anything that they hyped him up to be except for his name? The best thing about Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was his name. He was extremely overrated, and you can make an argument that his dad was overrated. His dad's first 50 fights was literally against florists, taxi drivers, preachers, literally. So everybody talking about he had 100 and something fights. Well, look at his first 50 opponents, or should I say 60 opponents. So there you have it. You don't want to have this conversation with me. You really don't. You don't want to have this conversation with me. Because, like I said, I never really thought much of Julio Cesar Chavez to begin with. I didn't think he was there. I just thought he won a couple of solid fights, but, at the end of the day, he caught a break. He caught a break versus Meldrick Taylor. His best wins was against Roger Mayweather. I mean, he got upset by Frankie Randall. The Pernell Whitaker fight was a travesty. The Pernell Whitaker fight was one of the biggest robberies in history. I think Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield 1 might have been the biggest robbery in boxing history. Okay. I think it was, come on, man. But yeah, as far as Jake Paul go, he trying to do the triangle theory. Well, like I said, I'll fight a guy that beat a dude who was a professional boxer and a former champion. But as I said before, Junior, he just was never that good. He wasn't all hands on deck into boxing. He had other interests. When he was training with Freddie Roach for the Sergio Martinez fight, he wasn't really training hard, and Freddie Roach called him out on that. So, like I said before, Anderson Silva beating a former champion is kind of impressive, but at the same time, you can make an argument it ain't that impressive because Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was the epitome of a hype job. So there you have it. But yeah, Jake Paul is he's being a super hypocrite. He's being a big time hypocrite. He want to fight a dude that's way smaller than him, but this was the dude whining and crying about Hossein Rahman's weight. There you have it. Now, let me move on to Shakur Stevenson. So Shakur Stevenson is going to start campaigning at 135. Everybody is talking about a potential fight with Tank Davis, but let's be honest. Can we really get a Tank Davis fight? Can we get past all the politics? Can we get past the drama to get that type of fight made? And would you have some of these, would you have some of these dudes willing to do it for the love of boxing instead of making it about a personal vendetta? See, that's the problem. Then here's another thing. Here's another twist to the plot. As far as Devin Haney go, I'm expecting a phone call from Bill Haney later on today. So Bill said he's going to call me, and me and Bill going to probably talk, talk off the record. And then Bill will give me some information about what's the next move. But I think Kambosos is Devin Haney's last fight at 135. I think that's going to be his last fight. And then I think they're going to move up to 140. So I'm just giving you the scoop right now. So as far as a Shakur Stevenson versus Devin Haney fight go, it could happen, but I can tell you guys right now that fight ain't going to happen right away. And as far as Tank go, we all know how difficult it is to get people to cross the mythical other side of the street. So what makes you think that they're going to allow Tank to cross the street? They only seem to want to cross the street when they have no other options. Like I said, look what's going on with the so-called super fight. It's now September the 25th. It's the end of the month, you guys. It's the end of the month. Next Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, next Saturday will be or next Friday will be, no, yeah, next Saturday will be October the 1st, which means it'll be basically, it would be like maybe, hell, barely, maybe 6 weeks, 6 weeks, and you supposed to have a fight 6 weeks out, but this supposed to be promoted as a super fight. I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes we just have to read between the lines. I'd be shocked if I'd be shocked if there's still a fight that's going to jump off on November the 19th. For anybody who heard, Blue Blood put out a report that basically Terrence Crawford ran up on him and basically confronted him about basically putting out misinformation. That's according to Blue Blood, saying that he is the only one that's really trying to make this fight. Okay. You've been hearing, okay, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, because at the end of the day, you can't talk logic with people on the other side. You cannot talk logic. You cannot talk sense with some of the PBC apologists and some of the, as World Combat Sports would say, Spenceaholics or the Spence Brigade. You just can't talk logic or sense with them, because at the end of the day, that's what has always been the plot within, to try to make this Terrence Crawford's fault no matter what. You hear cap after cap, now the new cap is Daniel Kinahan. Oh yeah, shout out to my boy Boxing Ego. He reported that now the next cap could be Daniel Kinahan and Bud's affiliation with Daniel Kinahan. Okay, so let me debunk that right quick. Let me debunk the whole Daniel Kinahan thing. Yeah, me and Blue Blood ain't got no problem. Me and Blue Blood is cool. I consider Blue Blood a friend, but at the end of the day, he do it his way, and I do it my way. And I'm not gonna say, Blue Blood do what he do, I do what I do. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really want to get deep into that, but I'm okay with Blue Blood. I talked to Blue Blood. I saw him at the Shakur Stevenson fight. He was at the Shakur Stevenson fight. And I spoke to him. I spoke to him. We talked, and like I said, I seen what he said in his video. He said Bud pulled up on him. But let me debunk this whole Daniel Kinahan thing. Okay, so let's talk about now Daniel Kinahan being in the way, or we ain't gonna make the, basically they saying now the fight may be, now the holdup may be because of Terrence Crawford's alleged affiliation with Daniel Kinahan. Okay, let's just cut the cap. All of us know that Daniel Kinahan is on the run. He is a fugitive from justice like Ezra Miller. All his assets have been frozen. He is. So how does that, they can easily freeze him out. Don't you remember the interview with Stephen Espinosa I did back in April? They was talking about Daniel Kinahan. So like I said, Daniel Kinahan is out the way. Tyson Fury is affiliated with, or had affiliation with, Daniel Kinahan, and he had a fight. So once again, that's debunked. Debunked with ease. If Tyson Fury can go on and fight and he has affiliation with Daniel Kinahan, why would that deter Bud from fighting Errol Spence? It's just cap. It's just another front that's being thrown out there and put out there by some of these Errol Spence apologists. And I'm gonna tell you something else. A lot of these Errol Spence apologists, they act like children. If you say something, If you say something they don't like about Errol Spence, especially if you're doing a live, they try to flag your video so it can't get monetized. They gonna flag this video, I promise you, because they're listening. That's where we are now, and that's how petty a lot of these people are. Like I said, this whole thing, like I said, instead of being a celebration, it's been division put out by, divisions caused by cornballs and man fans and fanagers. So, and Terrence Crawford verified, he said that, hey, he said, hey, I agreed to all of their demands. I agreed to take less money. I agreed to everything. And as you guys know, Bomac did an interview with me, on Friday. Bomac said, hey, and I appreciate Bomac speaking to me, because Bomac brushed off anybody that asked him about Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence. So I appreciate Bomac specifically trying to at least keep me posted, because a lot of people, Bomac was telling them, don't ask him about Terrence Crawford. But, Bomac is a good, and I'm going to tell you something about Bomac. Bomac is a good dude. And he got a good sense of humor, because Bomac sat right next to me, and Bomac agreed to do an interview with me because he really needed to get up out of there. But he agreed to do a quick interview with me. And Bomac was taking pictures with the fans, people walking up to Bomac, asking can they take pictures with him and stuff. And Bomac could have been blowing him off and stuff. And I'm talking about, this is while the main event is going on with Shakur Stevenson. So this is how I know that Bomac is a good dude. And I know people try to, attack Bomac, little sensitive midgets and stuff, trying to, trying to attack Bomac. But Bomac, I can tell you, anybody that follow my channel, Bomac is a good dude. And I saw it. And this is just real talk, to see him interact with the fans. And you had some fans, like I said before, they talking all this junk. They talking about Spence gonna do this, Spence gonna do that, but then they still asking to take a picture with Bomac. And Bomac, like I said, obliged them. So shout out to that dude, real talk. I'm talking about the main event going, and I made sure Bomac got a seat too. And I also gave up my seat to Coach Red, because, I guess he wanted to relax because they had just got through with the Keyshawn Davis fight. And by the way, Keyshawn Davis that dude is the goods. And so is Bruce Shushu Carrington. And also, I want to send a shout out to Bruce Shushu Carrington. I got a chance to see his woman, beautiful sister. And I'm talking about, they sat next to me and I spoke to them. Good people, man. Shushu is a good dude. Unfortunately, I didn't get to talk to Keyshawn, because Keyshawn, I guess he got dressed and he ran up out of there, because we did not catch him. I was looking for him. I wanted to get some footage of him, but to no avail. We couldn't find him, and that's okay, because Keyshawn Davis is a good dude, man. I know he'll speak to me next time. So, but yeah, once again, shout out to Bomac, man. To see that dude interacting with the fans like that, people walking up. And by the way, New Jersey was lit. You know what I'm saying? Newark was lit. To see Shakur fighting in a state-of-the-art, pretty much a state-of-the-art arena. And a lot of people showed up to see him. I was worried. As a matter of fact. I was worried, like, man, please don't let 5,000 people show up to see Shakur Stevenson. But, they came through. Brick City came through. 10,107 people, out of the stadium at full capacity. Standing room only holds Holds like 19,000. But on the flip side, they only made a certain amount of tickets available. So Shakur Stevenson has the record for basically attendance for a boxing match at the Prudential Center. So there is some drawing power with Shakur Stevenson. You got to have the right dance partner and you got to have the right promotion. I think it's time to bring Shakur Stevenson back to Atlanta. Real talk. But you just got to have a good dance partner. And that's all it come down to. But anyway, got to get some rest. Got to get out of here. So, hopefully you'll get some videos from me today, depending on how tired I am. So we'll see what's up. Anyway, this your boy Town Biz. Thank you. Out.